Hello, hello! In video 3, I showed you how to open Photopea and how to create a gradient on your background layer. In this video, video 4, I'm going to show you how to create layers, how to use the paintbrush, and how to use the smudge tool. So let's get started. The first thing that I need to do is create a new layer. Under Layers, here's the Layers tab, Channels, Paths. Under Layers, I've got my background layer. Now, as I said before, while we're working in this program, you're always going to be working from back to front. So I need to create a new layer for the sun. If I created the sun on the background layer, it would be attached to it and embedded. And if I wanted to lower the opacity of the background or alter it, it would also do that to my sun. So virtually everything you create needs to be on its own separate layer. To create a new layer, I go down here to the New Layer button, and it looks like a sheet of paper with the corner folded up. So I click that, and I want to double click layer 1 so I can rename it Sun. Okay, now if I click on background layer and it's dark gray, that means that that layer is selected and I'm on that layer. I want to be on the sun layer, so I need to click that and have that dark gray. Now to create my sun, I'm going to use the Paintbrush tool. You might look at the toolbar and be like, well, okay, where is it? Where is it? That looks like a paintbrush, so I'm going to click on it, and yes, it's the brush tool. So select the brush tool, and every time you select a tool, you will have menu options up here where you can change the opacity or the flow or the smoothness. The first thing I want to do is change the size. So I click here to change the size and the type. So I want to make a soft brush, and I want it to be pretty large. So I can slide up my slider, and when I place it here on the screen, that shows me how big it's going to be. Okay, I want to make a bright yellow sun, so that's the size I want. So I'm just going to click here outside of my window, and you can see it made a little mark there that I do not want. I need to take that back. So I need to go to Edit, Step Backward to get rid of that. Now I'm going to yellow, and I want a slightly brighter yellow. So I'm going up here in my color picker. And I want that yellow right there, so I'm going to click OK. And my sun is going to go right about here. So I'm going to click once, and that's pretty good. But I want it a little brighter, and then I want it hot white in the center. So I'm going to click a second time and a third time. Now I'm going back to my color picker, and I'm going to go over here to a brighter yellow white. Click OK. But I don't want to maintain the same brush size. I want to make it slightly smaller so it's hot white in the center and more yellow around the edges. So I'm going back to the size, and I'm going to scroll down a bit to make my circle smaller. And I think that's about it right there. 2, 3. All right, my sun is done. The next layer I'm creating is going to be called Clouds. And that will be above the sun layer because the clouds are going to pass over. So I'm going back to my new layer, click New Layer, double click this, and title Clouds. Actually, I'm going to make one cloud, and then I will duplicate them. So it's going to be called Cloud. Enter. Now this is going to be a sunset, so I want my clouds to be yellow, yellow-orange, maybe a little bit pink. So I'm going to first change the color. And I want to go down to yellow orange. And I'm going to select this color. Click OK. Now, I want to use a soft brush, but not quite that big. So I'm going to lower the size. And what I'm going to do is show you how to make one cloud and how to duplicate it. It's a little bit faster, and you can alter them once you duplicate them. So as I'm painting, I don't want full opacity. That's way too bright. So I'm going to step backward, edit, step backward to undo that. And I'm going to lower the opacity and lower the flow of my brush first. Now, I'm just clicking and moving my mouse to create an orange cloud. I don't want it to look cartoonish, so that's why I lowered the opacity of it, because the edges are going to be more diffused. Okay, and now I'm going to switch to a yellow-orange, a brighter one. I'm going to come up here to the yellow, click OK, and I'm going to start to add some of that towards the top so that it's more yellow-orange on the bottom. And of course I'm looking at a visual reference when I'm doing this. I'm not just making it up because I need something to kind of guide me. Now I'm going to go back to that orange again, the yellow orange. Maybe a slightly, hold on, that one right there. So once I have a cloud shape like this, I want to pull and streak it. So to do that, I need to use the Smudge tool. And I believe it's under the blur tool. So I'm going to click blur and go down to smudge. Click smudge. That is a tiny, tiny size. So I need to increase the size of the smudge. And I just want to pull like the edges of these clouds out to make them more streaky, like you see streaks in a sunset. Now my strength is at 50%. I'm going to go up to 60. If you go up too high, you will see a huge difference and it will look a little crazy. But that's making my streaking a little easier. So I've got one cloud there, okay? I want to show you now how to duplicate something. So before I duplicate, I'm going to move this cloud around using the move tool. So right now I'm on the smudge tool. I need to click on the move tool. Okay, if I click on the cloud and I know I'm on the cloud layer because it's dark gray, I can move this around. When I put it over the sun, it covers up the sun completely because the opacity is at 100% right now. Okay, so I want to, if I lower the opacity, let me show you what happens. I can put it over the sun and the sun shows through a little bit. So this cloud, I'm going to increase the opacity of it and I'm going to duplicate it. And my duplication is going to be smaller than this one. So while I'm on the move tool, I'm taking my finger and I'm pressing down on Alt on my keyboard. Alt move is how you duplicate something. So I hold Alt and then I move this and I've got a second cloud. Okay, this cloud I don't want to look just like this one. I want it to be smaller. It's also going to be lower in opacity. So to change the size, I have to transform this. As you see, when you make a copy, it calls it cloud copy. If it was sun, it would say sun copy. Whatever you titled that layer, it's going to make a copy of it. Then it'll be copy 1, copy 2, and there on from there. Okay, so back to this. I want to change the size of it. So I need to go to Edit, Transform, Scale for the size. It's going to put a bounding box around it. And then while I hold down on Shift on my keyboard, I'm shrinking it from the corner and that keeps it from getting distorted. Now I hit Enter. And like I said, I'm going to move it up here, but I want you to be able to see through it. So I'm going to go to the opacity level and lower the opacity. Then I'm going to move it up here. Now this is a quick and easy way to make many clouds without painting them over and over again. You can, by all means, paint them over and over again if you want, but I want to just show you how I can quickly make some clouds. So I'm going to right click. A shortcut to get on a layer is to right click on it and then select that layer, and I can move it around. Another way is from cloud copy, I would just go to the cloud layer or the sun layer. So I'm moving this all the way off the page right there. And then I'm on that layer again. I'm going to hold Alt and make another one. Now this one I want going in the other direction. So to do that, I have to flip it horizontally. So I go to Edit, Transform, Flip horizontally. And it just makes it slightly different. It's not that much different, but just a little bit. Now I'm going to make it smaller. Edit, Transform, Scale. Once again, I want to hold Shift. And by the way, if you don't hold Shift, it distorts it. So if I wanted to make this really long and skinny, I could drag it out like that. I could make it skinnier like this. If you don't want something to distort, then you hold down on Shift while you shrink it or increase it from the corner. And then I'm going to lower the opacity of it. First I hit Enter to apply the change, then opacity, lower the opacity. And I'm going to move it over here. So you just keep repeating that until you have the amount of clouds that you want in your composition. I'm going to end it there and let you practice. Good luck!